Oh my god, hey, it's me, Mickey Joe, here at the Edinburgh Fringe, and I'm about to tell you about show number 4. Now, when I added Who Do You Love, the Casey and the Sunshine Band musical, into my schedule, I wasn't anticipating it being the big surprise of the day so far. The answer to Who Do You Love? The answer is that show. I loved that show. That's not a who, that's a what, but we're rolling with it. I was expecting it to be somewhere between a generic jukebox musical and like a tribute show, giving you the Casey and the Sunshine Band songs, of which I didn't actually think I would know as many as I did. Turns out it's all of your favorite disco hits and classics. But what it actually is Harry Casey, the creator of Casey and the Sunshine Band, wanting to turn his songs into a musical, wanting to do something with truth and heart, and being reassured by his friends about how to turn it into a musical. The whole thing gets very self-referential. It nods to several different musicals explicitly within the text. It talks about Hamilton, it talks about The Music Man, for crying out loud, dropping references I was not expecting, but acknowledging the traditional structure of musicals, talking about I Want songs, talking about 11 o'clock numbers. And then it adheres to that structure in a really smart way, while acknowledging that it's deliberately doing so the entire time. This show was way more thoughtful than I expected it to be, as well as absolutely as entertaining as you want it to be. A dynamite opening number, like probably the sleekest and most polished musical you're going to see throughout the Edinburgh Fringe. It had great costuming. It had just enough set with disco balls. Everything looked pretty. It did not have a live band. It was using tracks, but it was giving you that authentic disco sound within the constraints of a Fringe budget. Admittedly, the whole thing feels very commercial, and because it spends so much of it trying to articulate what it wants the show to be about, we get moments of real heart, but we don't get to know these characters perhaps as deeply as we want to. It kind of teases us with a lot of story, and we're constantly waiting for those developments, and it delivers on a lot of emotional fronts. Like, we feel those beats. It is surprisingly affecting, but you do long for more depth. The whole thing is very polished in a very commercial way. It feels a little bit like a machine at times. This is also auspiciously being produced by ATG Productions, who are a major producing group worldwide, and I don't know if I can see this readily outside of this particular environment. It will kill right now in the Edinburgh Fringe. I think it could do very well in the likes of cruise ships, actually, but I don't know what an expanded version of this show would necessarily look like. That being said, I am intrigued to see this show's future because it really wowed me. The cast, stellar performances to the last. My goodness, the dancing from the ensemble, the acting performances, so endearing, so charming. The vocals, my goodness. This was a really fantastic group of performers putting across just a really lovable and warm and grippingly entertaining show. I loved this. If I wasn't back-to-back seeing a whole load of shows over the next 2 weeks, I would go back and see it again. Go and see Who Do You Love, the Casey and the Sunshine Band musical. I promise you, it will surprise you. You can find that show playing at 4:50 in the afternoon at Studio 1 of the Assembly George Square Studios. Stay tuned for more Edinburgh Fringe reviews coming very soon.